Hello everyone, my name is Karina Shahar, and today I want to talk to you about something that's part of almost everyone's life: social media platforms like TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube are everywhere, and while they can be fun and inspiring, they also affect how we feel. Sometimes we leave feeling motivated, but other times we walk away with anxiety, anxiousness, sadness, and distraction. What I'll share with you today is how social media connects to the brain and our mood. I'll explain the behavior I studied, the brain systems involved, some research around it, and what we can do to use social media in healthier ways. Part 1 is going to be focused on behavior and its connection to psychology. The behavior I'm focusing on is social media use and mood regulation. This fits into psychosocial logical psychology because it deals with the relationship between brain function and behavior. Historically, psychologists studied how rewards and punishments shape behavior with early work on conditioning and reinforcement. Today, we see how social media uses those same principles but in digital space. Each like, comment, or new video acts as a reward, activating the same brain systems that once helped our ancestors survive by seeking food or connection. Current research looks at social media almost like an addiction. Scientists study it through brain imaging, neurotransmitter activity, and behavioral patterns. The focus is now on how constant exposure to digital rewards can change the brain's circuits for motivation, attention, and emotional control. Part 2 is going to be focused on neuroanatomical pathways and functions. Several brain areas are involved when we use social media. The nucleus accumbens and ventricle tegmental area, otherwise known as the VTA. These are part of dopamine and reward system. These release dopamine when we get a like or we see a comment, when we feel something that we enjoy. This reinforces the habit of checking our phones. The amygdala, this processes emotions like jealousy, fear, or validation when we compare ourselves to others online. This I know personally I can fall victim to. So can many other girls in my generation or young people. When you see other people's lives, it's hard not to compare your own to their highlight reel. The hippocampus stores emotional memories, so negative or positive experiences with social media can stick with us and shape how we see ourselves. Prefrontal cortex, this area handles self-control and focus. Overuse of social media can weaken its role, making it harder to regulate mood or resist endless scrolling. This can lead to staying up all night. This can impact your sleep schedule. In terms of neurotransmitters, dopamine drives the craving and reward-seeking behavior. Serotonin, on the other hand, helps to stabilize your mood, but it can be disrupted by constant social comparison. Together, these systems explain why social media can make us feel good in the short term, but often worse over time if it becomes compulsive. Part 3 will focus on peer-reviewed research. The research I reviewed shows these brain mechanisms in action. Wang and Wang 2025, they describe a dual pathway model where social media is rewarding at first, but with long-term use it can turn into emotional avoidance and compulsive behavior. Tereshiko 2023, this review found that dopamine dysregulation and poor self-control are risk factors for problematic use. Excessive scrolling can rewire the reward system. D and colleagues 2025, they showed how algorithms feed us endless content and maximize engagement, which can raise anxiety and depression, especially in younger users. Pidgeot 2025 explained that social media activates dopamine reward pathways in ways similar to addictive behaviors. All of this research supports the idea that social media has a real, measurable effect on brain and our emotions. Part 4 is recommendation. So what can we do about it? My recommendation is to practice intentional use of social media. This could mean setting time limits, choosing when to engage, when not to engage, choosing to engage with content that inspires or educates rather than just mindless scrolling, and participating in mindfulness when using these platforms. For younger people, education about algorithms and reward systems work and also reduce compulsive use, so education is crucial. I work as a private trainer. As a trainer, I found that encouraging clients to stay present in workouts instead of filming content for social media improves focus and results. Similarly, in everyday life, being more selective with how we use social media can protect emotional well-being. It really is something in my personal life that I see on a day-to-day basis with clients, is that they want to film themselves or, make a video or a photo of their workout. And the issue with that is if the photo or video is not right and they don't like their body in that angle, well, that can really ruin the workout. And that's just why it's not focused on in my books, for a lack of better words. Part 5 will focus on ethical considerations and limitations. Of course, there are limits and ethical concerns. Not everyone experiences social media in the same way. People who are neurodivergent, such as those with ADHD, may be more vulnerable to dopamine-driven rewards. People with mental health challenges, such as depression or anxiety, they may struggle more with negative comparisons or compulsive use. Ethically, we also need to consider that most platforms are designed to maximize engagement and not protect mental health. Researchers studying these issues must be careful not to stigmatize users, but instead focus on promoting healthier patterns. Another limitation is that brain imaging and self-report studies can't always capture the complexity of real-life social media behavior. Conclusion. To sum it up, social media use isn't just a habit, it's a behavior that deeply involves the brain reward, emotion, and self-control systems. Research shows it can lift us up or it can pull us down, depending upon the way we engage with it. By being intentional and mindful, and by recognizing the brain's mechanisms at play, we can take back some control. For me, my clients, and for many of us, the key is not cutting out social media, but learning how to use it in ways that support our mental health rather than harm our mental health. Thank you so much for listening to my conversation. I really appreciate it. Have a wonderful night.